everybody, Leah here at the Ashtabula County YMCA. Thought today we could do a little chair yoga routine. Miss my chair yoga people along with all of the others, and if this is the first time you're practicing with me, welcome, thank you for joining me. So you can work with pretty much any chair that you have. I would probably recommend while you're doing this at home that you use a dining chair or something that's got a more solid surface, more of a straight back. Ideally something without arms. If you don't have access to a chair that doesn't have arms, that's okay. You can work around some of the stuff that we're doing, and I'll be aware to offer some modifications in the case that that's your situation. But otherwise, we will be doing a lot of our practice from the chair. We will stand up next to the chair a little bit, but that is optional. The pros is that I'm offering standing. I will show you from the seat first. So if standing isn't an option for you today, or there just isn't space around you, you can certainly remain in your chair for the entire practice. That said, find your way into a comfortable space. Allow yourself to settle back against the chair. And as we find our way into the practice space through the breath, we call it, just allow yourself to eliminate those distractions. We want to maybe close the eyes or have them soften toward the ground. And try to just notice the breath itself. So feel the breath at the tips of the nostrils, finding and leaving the body. And as distractions come up, sounds, thoughts, movement from other people or pets in your household, just allow yourself to acknowledge them. Notice they're there and then send them away on your exhale. Sitting up nice and tall, sinking back against the back of the chair. One more breath. Begin to get a little bit of movement into the neck, so notice whether or not this is available to you. Begin by simply turning the head from side to side. Turning to gaze over one shoulder, coming back to center. Turning the head so you look toward the other shoulder. Go nice and slow. Inhale as you come to center. Use your full exhalation to turn to the side or hold there. The full inhale comes back to center. Exhale, other side. Inhale to the middle. Exhale to the side. One more time here. Did any of those distractions pop up, and are you able to send them away? Exhale, draw the chin toward the chest. So maybe it's a little bit, maybe you dip the chin way down. Where does your body take you? Inhale as you bring just the top of the head or maybe the chin toward the sky. And then back down. Nice and slow and easy. We're not looking for fast movements at any point in this process, in this practice, excuse me. We want to work with control. We want to work with joint movement and muscle rather than simply momentum. Come back to that neutral space, chin parallel to the ground. If it's available to you to drop your right ear towards your right shoulder, go ahead and do that. If not, maybe just turn and look over the shoulder instead. Bring the head back through center. If you have the ear toward the shoulder, let's drop the chin toward the chest. Otherwise, just look forward. If it works in your body to bring the left ear over toward the left shoulder, getting a stretch in the right side of the neck, go ahead and do that, or just turn to look over the shoulder. Whatever works for you. One more breath here. As you exhale, bring the chin toward the chest or to the middle if your head is upright. One more time. Let that right ear come toward the right shoulder. With your next exhalation, the chin comes toward the chest, and as you inhale, the chin comes toward the left side, or the left ear comes toward the left shoulder. One more time. As you exhale, we'll come back to center. And then inhale, sit up nice and tall. Let's get a little bit of movement through the shoulders. Roll the shoulders up toward the ears and back and down. 3 more times. Maybe it's a large movement, maybe a very small one. 2 more times here. Last one right here. Get a little movement into the elbows. Bring the fingertips to the shoulders. And the elbows can come up toward the sky, and then allow the arms to come down alongside you. So we want to get movement through the elbow joint, through the shoulder joint, but also as you come up, the shoulders stay down and the elbows kind of pull up toward the sky, so you start to feel a stretch through the sides of the body, elongating. 2 more times here. Lifting and lowering. Last one here. Up and up. Exhale, down and down. Getting some movement into those hands, wrists, and fingers. We'll bring the hands in front of us, palms facing forward. Imagine you're closing a very heavy drawer. Press the hands away from you. Curl the fingers, allow the hands to drop down a little bit, and pull that drawer open. Pressing it closed, pulling it open. Feeling the shoulder blades draw toward the spine as you close, the back rounding, stretching through the upper back. As you close, as you open, shoulder blades draw toward the spine, and we stretch across the chest. 2 more times here. Last one right here. We'll bring the hands back down. We're going to do a little bit of brain work right now. So we'll start with just a few simple joint rotations, getting the hands ready. Let's close the hands into fists, tight fists or loose fists, or just bring the fingers together. Rotate the wrists as much as your body will allow you to. And if this doesn't work for you, that's okay. Maybe you just open and close the fingers as much as you can, or maybe you just kind of move the wrists a little bit. Work with what's available in your body right now. Try again tomorrow or the next day or next week. Okay, we'll stop here. Bring the palms forward once again. You'll keep your right fingers up and drop your left fingers down. And then switch. 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 Right fingers out. Left fingers up. Right fingers up. Left fingers out. Left fingers up. Right fingers down. Left fingers out. Left fingers up. Right fingers up. Left fingers out. Left fingers up. Right fingers out. Up. Out. Left hand down. And switch. And switch. And switch. And switch. Both sets of fingers up. Tap the index and the ring finger together. And then the middle. And then the ring finger. And then the pinky. Pinky to thumb. Ring to thumb. Middle to thumb. Index to thumb. 2 more times. Index to thumb. Ring to thumb. Middle to thumb. Ring to thumb. Pinky to thumb. Pinky to thumb. Ring to thumb. Middle to thumb. Index to thumb. Index. Middle. Ring. Pinky. Pinky. Ring. Middle. Index. Allow the hands to come down to rest the lap. And we'll scoot forward just a little bit on the chair. So you just want to have a little space between your body and the chair. I'm going to turn to the side so that you can see the movement that we're making, but I encourage you to just remain where you are. So I will turn to the side. And from your nice upright seated position, you can have as much or as little gap as you need between your body and the chair. Let's just start to pull the shoulders back and then let them come forward. Pull the shoulders back and then come back to neutral. One more time like that. The shoulders come back and then we come back to neutral. Trying to keep the shoulders where they are, allow the tailbone to roll back and then come back to neutral. So you're just kind of rocking forward and back on the chair. The tailbone and the sit bones roll toward the space behind you and then come back to neutral. Now, we'll come forward. So the shoulders round forward, kind of bending at the waist, and then you come back up. Round forward and come back up. Round forward and come back up. Pause here. We'll let the tailbone tuck forward. So it's like you're pulling the belly button in and rounding as if you're going to curl up into a little ball. And then come back to neutral 2 more times. Slowly. And then come up. Last one right here. Now we'll weave those together. So as you inhale, the tailbone and the shoulders pull back. Abdomen and the chest come forward. As you exhale, we round the tailbone toward the belly button, shoulders toward the belly button. Maybe you start to move the neck if that works in your body. You can look up as you come forward. You can bring the chin in toward the chest as you curl up into that little ball. 3 more times here. Or not. Remember, if something does not work for you, please don't feel that you have to do it. If you try something and it's just not available, the body just isn't going that way today or it hurts, you can bypass it. You can come through a different movement. You can just sit and breathe, trying to send those distractions out of your field of consciousness. Inhale up, sitting up nice and tall, pause in stillness. I'll turn back around for the next round of the practice. So let's bring that right foot out in front of you. And from here, we'll get a little movement through the hip joint. So find the space where you can sit comfortably on your chair. I needed to scoot forward a little bit because the base of the chair was digging into the back of my legs. So allow yourself to scoot forward or back as you need to. Hands can rest at the ground, or at the chair rather, alongside you, or you can have them at your hips. You can rest them on your lap, whatever works for you. We'll start by moving through this left hip joint. So we'll bring the knee up, out, in, and down. 3 more times. Now maybe your movement is smaller. Maybe you tap the foot out and in, out, and in. 1 more here. We'll leave that foot at the ground. Sit up nice and tall, leaving the hands at the hips. The thighs are catching the base of your chair. Just be aware, make sure that it's not going to flip forward on you when you do this. We'll start to come forward a little bit. So just start to notice the stretch in the back. Maybe you feel it in the low back. You probably or may feel it in the back of your leg. Maybe you sink a little bit more as you exhale next. Maybe you are at your edge wherever you landed. So just allow yourself to come to the point where you feel the stretch, where you don't feel strain. 2 more breaths here. Wherever you are, last one right here. And slowly come back up. Nice and easy. Take your time sitting back up. We'll bring that right foot back. This time the left leg comes out in front of us. You can have the toes at the ground or toward the sky. It's your whatever feels more natural to you. Just be mindful that you're not pressing that knee backward. We want to have a little softness in that extended leg. So once again, getting some movement into that hip joint. You can have the hands at the hips. You can have the hands alongside the chair, wherever you would like to place them. We'll bring that right foot out, in and down if you leave the foot elevated, or you can tap. Maybe you move a small movement. Where is your body taking you today? It's 3 more times, wherever you are. Up, out, in and down. Big tap side to side. Little tap side to side. Let's take 1 more. Pause in stillness. Same thing once again. Sit up nice and tall, and as you exhale, sink over that extended leg. As much or as little as your body wants you to. Maybe you continue to hold on to the base of your chair. Maybe the hands are at the hips. Maybe you like to have the hands at the thighs. You might even want to bring your hands down to rest on the shins if that seems appropriate in your body, particularly if you're folding forward a little bit more. That might work a little better for you. If you're more upright, remember, A-OK. Do what works for you today. One more breath right here. Inhale as you slowly come back up to your seat. We'll bring the feet side by side. And let's get a little movement through the legs. So we'll bring the right foot up, press the foot away, point the toes, flex the foot in and down. Left side, point, flex, in and down. 3 more on each side. 2 more. Last one here. All right. Let's lift and lower those alternating heels. Right heel up and then down. Left heel up and then down. 2 more times. This just allows us to get into the spaces behind the toes a little bit more. So we already worked with the ankle joint a little bit with that last set. So now we'll lift the right heel and the left toes. And then switch. And then switch, switch, and switch. So having the heels lifting and lowering lets us get into those spaces behind the toes a bit more. 1 more time on each side. Both feet come down. Let's bring those hands out in front of us, working the brain a little bit this morning as well. The right heel comes up and the right hand stays down, or goes down. The left toes point up, as do the left fingers. And then switch, and switch, and switch, and switch. Switch, 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 and switch. 2 more times on each side. Last one here. A little more challenging when we're working with both. Let's do that again. This time left heel comes up, right toes come up, hands out in front, a little bit of a change. As the heels switch, right heel up, left toes up, right hand to the side. And then switch, left hand out, and switch, and switch, and switch. Switch, 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 switch. 2 more times. Last one right here. Pause in stillness. Let's bring those hands to the center of the chest, heart center. Inhale fully. We'll get a little bit of movement as you exhale, turn toward the right side. So we're just moving through the waist. The hips continue to come toward the front of the chair. Inhale through center, exhale, twist through the waist toward your left. Inhale to the middle, exhale right. Inhale to the middle, exhale left. Inhale to middle, exhale right. Inhale to middle, exhale left. Let's come back to the middle once again. Let the hands come down alongside the body. So we're pretty well warmed up and ready for some more active movements now. We'll begin by moving over toward the right side of the chair. So what we want to do is be able to bring this right leg back a bit. The left foot stays firmly planted. We're coming into our chair warriors. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we're just binge watching, right? All right, let's let those right toes come back. So maybe the foot just comes back a little bit. Maybe it comes back so that the knee points down toward the ground right out of the hip socket. Maybe the foot even extends back behind you a little bit. Make sure you're nice and stable. If you're clinging onto the chair, then that is going to present a problem here in just a moment because we'll be bringing those arms up overhead. Now, if you have an armrest on your chair, you can do this when you're a little farther forward. Your leg probably won't come back as far. And just be mindful because you'll be trying to get around that arm. You don't want to try and press back too far. You could create some injury because the hip is somewhat out of alignment. So definitely allow yourself to practice as you need to with the equipment that you have, but be aware of some of those modifications. So as you inhale, we'll bring those fingertips up to the sky, and we'll let the shoulders soften away from the ears. Kind of pressing the heel toward the right heel toward the wall behind you. The sole of the left foot presses into the ground just a little bit. Let's get a little bit of movement through the arms. As we exhale, we'll bring the elbows out, shoulder height. Inhale, bring those fingertips up. 3 more times. 2 more. Last one here. Fingertips to the sky. And now we're going to turn a little bit toward the right. So this right knee will kind of come out to the side a little bit. And let's bring those arms forward and back. And then we'll bring the hands into the chest. This is our warrior 2. Open and release. Open and close. One more time. Now, if you're able to do this with the foot still back, that's totally fine. Last one here. Hands come to the heart, and we'll find our way back to center. Give that leg a little assist as you bring it forward. We'll bring the feet side by side. Scoot to the middle of the chair, and we'll counter that a little bit. So we'll let that leg come out and fold forward once again. 2 more times here. Last one right here. Inhale, slowly come up. Feet come side by side. We'll do the same thing on the opposite side. So scooting over toward the left side of your chair as much as you can, depending whether or not you have an armrest here. And then we'll start to bring that left foot back a little bit. So we want to be aware that the right knee is not out in front of the right toes. And again, if you feel intense strain, you can have the foot forward a little bit more. We just want the knee a little behind the front one. But if that's here, great. It's exactly where you should be. If it's here, also great. If it's here and you're not straining and you're not hurting yourself and you're not in pain and you're not wondering how soon are we going to be done with this, this is great too. So just be aware of what's happening in your body. You want to honor where you are right now. Let's bring the fingertips back up to the sky. Don't forget to smile. We'll bend at the elbows, and this time we'll bring the forearms together and then open up. Fingertips to the sky. Bend at the elbows, in and out. If this works in your body, you can hold in stillness. You can leave the hands at the waist. You can introduce as much or as little movement as your body needs with each and every posture. Be mindful that you're drawing the navel center, the belly button, toward the spine. That helps to support the low back. Last one here. Let's let the hands come down. Again, give that leg a little assist. Scoot back to the center of the chair. We'll let that left leg come out in front. Holding onto the chair, leaving the hands at the hips or the thighs. Slowly fold forward. Just getting a little stretch, allowing the knee to release a little bit. Stretch through the back of that leg, into the low back. One more breath here. We'll slowly come back up. Now we're going to work with chair pose from our chair. So we'll be coming up from here if you have the space, or you can repeat this series, what we just did. We'll be working with warrior postures. You can do that from a standing position, having the chair there to help you to support the balance. So I'm going to turn so that you can see what we're doing with the chair posture. If coming up out of the chair is not available to you, for chair pose, we want to draw the navel center toward the spine and kind of engage. So you can see how I lift up. We're using the glutes and the muscles in the legs. We're nice and tall. Let's bring those arms out in front of us. One more breath, just like this. If coming out of your chair is available, let's release. We'll press up, but just like you're getting ready to sit back down in that chair. Notice if you're on carpet, it's a little bit more difficult to hold that balance. So again, we can have the arms out in front of us or keep the hands right at the center of the chest. You can have a little bend or a big bend. 2 more breaths here. Little bend or big bend in the knees and hips. One more breath. And we'll slowly come up to stand and find your way next to the chair. Now you can have the hand resting on the chair or not. It's entirely up to you. From here, we'll find that warrior one posture again. So we'll let the right foot come forward, bending into that right knee. The left leg stays pretty straight, and we can keep this left hand at the chair. If you feel a little wobbly, particularly if you're on plush carpet, maybe that's a good idea. If you feel pretty stable, those fingertips can come up toward the sky. And once again, we'll move with this. Instead of what we did last time, I'm going to start by demonstrating with the hand down so you have an awareness of how that works. You can certainly bring both arms up. We'll straighten the right leg and bring the arms down alongside the body. And then bring the fingertips to the sky as we bend into the right knee. 3 more times. One hand or both. So this is where we start to challenge the balance a little bit. Rather than watching me, see if you can fix your gaze, your attention on a spot off in the distance. Something that holds still. One more time here. Straightening. Bending into your warrior one. Even if you have that hand at that left hand at the chair, let's bring that right arm alongside the body, and we'll just turn ever so slightly so that those toes start to point toward the chair. Maybe they point all the way to the chair, maybe not. We're in warrior two. Now again, you can keep your hand on the chair or draw the fingertips away from each other. We'll straighten the leg as we bring that right hand in and then extend. 3 more times here. 2 more. Remember, you can be in your chair here too. Last one here. You can still be seated. Stay right here. Straighten that front leg. The arms come down. If we're standing, just turn so that you're facing the chair and bring the feet closer together so they don't have to touch each other. If you're still seated, you can bring just one leg out in front of you, or you can bring both legs out in front, heels resting at the ground. You just want to stretch out the legs a little bit. Standing up nice and tall. As you exhale, fold forward, bringing the hands to the chair. Feel that stretch through the back of the legs. One more time here. And then we'll find our way across, and we are going to come into that chair pose once again. So you want to find your way to the left side. The weight shifts toward the heels, sinking back. Maybe you're holding on to the chair, maybe not. Maybe the hands come to the heart center, maybe you bring them out in front of you. Feeling that engagement. If you're seated in your chair, remember, draw navel center, the belly button toward the spine, and start to clench the muscles in the legs, the glutes, the low abdomen. One more breath right here. With your next inhalation, we'll start to stand. Coming up next to your chair. Same thing once again. So this time your right hand would rest at the chair if we're using that chair to help us maintain our balance. If not, you don't have to do that. Take that step forward with the left leg. Left knee bends, the right leg remains relatively straight, and the toes are kind of both pointing toward the front of the room or toward whatever you're looking at me on. So from here, let's bring those arms up overhead. Same thing, straighten the left leg as we let the hands float down. Maybe you even pull the fingertips back behind you, and then as you inhale, slowly come up. 3 more times here. Whether you're still sitting or not. 2 more. Last one right here. And I know you may lose my fingers in the screen, but that's okay. You have an understanding of what we're doing. So let's come back into our warrior. The hand can remain at the chair, and we'll turn a little bit so we're kind of facing the chair now while we keep that left knee bent. Let's bring the arms out, drawing the fingers in opposite directions. And as we straighten that leg, that left hand comes in toward the chest, and then we bend forward. 3 more times. And again, remember, you can use that chair for balance. Fingertips or hand can remain at the chair. 3 more times. 2 more. Last one right here. We'll turn so that we're facing the chair. Bring the feet closer together, and once again, we want to come into that little fold to stretch the back of the legs. The hands can rest at the chair. If this isn't enough of a stretch for you, you can bring the forearms down to the chair. You decide what works for you. Maybe your fingertips are at the chair, you're actually holding on a little bit higher. You just want to fold to the point where you start to feel that stretch. Let's get 1 more breath here. And slowly come up to stand. We'll find our way back into our chairs. Sliding into your seat. Scooting back. Once again, find our way through a few brief little twists and then just start to wind down into our resting space. So bring the hands to the heart. Inhale here, turn toward the right, and this time let that left hand find the right thigh or the left thigh. Maybe the right hand remains at the outside of the right leg, at the hip. Maybe it touches the chair. Maybe it comes back behind your chair, depending what kind of chair you have and what availability you have. So we want to keep those hips tracking toward the front of the room, twisting from the middle of the body through the waist. Your neck can remain neutral, or you can look over one shoulder. 1 more breath here. Inhale, find your way back to center. Sit up nice and tall. Just notice the difference between the 2 sides of the body. Inhale, bring the hands back to the heart. Exhale as you turn toward the left. So we use the hands kind of to guide us. We're watching the hands turn as the chest turns. Right hand finds its way to the left thigh or not, wherever it landed. Left hand at the hip, at the outside of the thigh, at the chair, behind the chair. Looking over one shoulder, keeping your neck nice and neutral. 1 more breath right here. Inhale, come back through center. Sink back against the chair. If we're still scooted forward, encourage you to come all the way back so that you can be supported by the chair behind you. And we'll just take a few breaths, softening